about the housing and residential supports that Autism Speaks is working on.
Sure, and you know, you're absolutely right. That was an important news item that went out there and really got people talking about this topic. And before we talk about housing, I just want to mention really briefly transition, because we do consider that part of our adult services, what we work on here at Autism Speaks. And as you saw in that show on Dateline, you know, that transition period is crucial. It's absolutely crucial to setting up our adults for success once those educational entitlements end. So while everyone has, you know, their best intentions in mind, it's really important to learn from those who've come before us and design the transition years. So really between age 13 and 21. To really focus on what your child needs to live independently, or as independently as possible, and to hopefully gain employment later in life. And those goals have to be at the forefront throughout those years. So thanks for letting me just mention that.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, and so housing and residential supports, we've changed the name of that now. We're calling it housing and community living, because it's really a part of an adult life that's just so important to all of us. And for people with autism, has often not been made available. Many people with autism, after they leave high school, find themselves back at home on mom and dad's couch. They are less engaged in the community and in post-secondary education and employment than almost any other disability group that they're compared against. And so this housing issue is really a crucial one. Many people with autism find themselves growing very lonely and isolated when there is no place for them to go if they're part of a community. So we've hired a new person recently in the last several months named Angela Lello, who's based in DC. She's our director of the Housing and Community Living Initiative. And really what Angela's working on is making sure that more and more of these community-based services, housing and residential supports designed for people with autism are made available to those adults who want them. She's also working on shortening some of the Medicaid waiting lists around the country, which some of them are just criminally long, you know, 20 years long to receive Medicaid waiver services for those home community-based supports. We're also working on, in collaboration with the Autistic Global Initiative, which is a wonderful organization led by people with autism, a curriculum that they wrote that is designed for those who care for adults with autism in the home. Right now, there are really no minimum standards or regulations, very little, in terms of maintaining quality of the people who work with our loved ones once they're adults. So the Autistic Global Initiative wrote a curriculum, and that is part of our initiative to push for minimum standards for those who work with our people at home.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And if somebody wanted more information about this area, about the curriculum, and which site should they go to get that, Dave?
So they go to www.autismspeaks.org, and then I believe there's a link there for families and adults. Okay. And then you'll follow that to find more information about the different adult categories that we work on.
Okay, and then you've got a whole area having to do with post-secondary education for adults as well. I have to be honest with you, I didn't know that you had all of this stuff, and I'm thinking if I didn't know, many of our viewers didn't know. Talk a little bit about your post-secondary education stuff.
Yeah, thanks for pointing it out. So we have a guide, first of all, and this is what we do a lot of on my team in family services. We create these toolkits and guides for families and for adults with autism. This one is about the post-secondary education opportunities out there. So it shows the range from your traditional four-year colleges and universities, and some that include an autism-specific support program, all the way down through two-year community colleges, life skills programs, and vocational programs that are available for people with autism. And you know what some of the pluses and minuses might be, where some of the challenges are, and it's a very useful tool, I think, that was written largely by people with autism. Some college professors with autism helped us with that as well. And then a really important initiative that I want people to know about was started by a then board member, now our board chair, Mr. Brian Kelly, and his wife Patricia. They started a post-secondary scholarship fund. So this fund doesn't go directly to individuals, it goes to programs that serve individuals with autism in any of those post-secondary educational settings. So it gives up to $25,000 to those programs to then give those scholarships to the students they serve. So it's a great and really generous program that the Kellys set up, and it's becoming more and more competitive each year to get those dollars. But it's really making some opportunities available to students with autism that weren't there before.
Amazing. And where can people get the guide, the Post-Secondary Educational Opportunity Guide?
Sure. So once they've gone in and found the adult section of our website, it should break down into our housing, employment, and post-secondary education sections, and they'll be able to find it there. There's also a place they can go once in that family and adult section. There's a link for toolkits, and you'll see we have over 40 toolkits, and all of them are available for free to download. Some of them are also available for print. If you ask us, we may be able to send it to you in a print version, but they're all there for free, and you can find it on our website.
Okay, because I have to definitely get that. We have at least 5 people a week, Dave, who will write in and say, how do I find out what the different college programs are, who has what, and what a wonderful thing that you guys already have it. I'm going to send everyone to you guys when they ask for that information. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about grants. You guys have been giving grants, and you've got a bunch of grants. What kinds of grants, if people are looking to apply for grants right now, what are you looking for in the family and the adult services area?
Sure. So, really, in the past, a lot of these grants went to programs that were coming up with new and innovative ideas for how to support people with autism. And the ones that are really innovative are very exciting often get these grants. And I should say that these decisions to award the grants are not made by us as staff at Autism Speaks, but they're made by committees that are comprised of people with autism, parents of people with autism, and then experts in each field. So it's important to note that. But recently, there's been a bit more of a change in focus. And now we're looking a lot more at replicating programs that we know work. So the models that have proved themselves over the years, I think a lot of people can submit grant proposals for replicating that at their own site. Something that's shown to be effective, that we know, and we have research to prove that it helps people with autism. Well, we'd love to see that in more and more places. So that's often what the grant committees look for. But again, I want to say that I'm not part of those committees, and it's a full decision process that they go through together.
Well, and I can speak to, I've never sat on a committee for the adult services because obviously my child still preteen, I wouldn't be qualified for that. But I have sat on other committees to decide where grant funds go to for Autism Speaks, and I have such great respect because it really is a rigorous process, and it's amazing the people that they pull in, the people that I've gotten to meet who are also weighing in for the grant process. You guys are very thorough, and I respect and admire that because it's important, as you guys raise a lot of money throughout the year, and you're very careful about who you give it to, which I think is wonderful.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate you saying that.
I just think that this is wonderful. This entire program that you're overseeing, the adult services, it's wonderful. It's exciting. I hope that you'll come back again and check in with us when you've got more things to tell our families. Did we leave anything out, Dave?
You know what? I left one thing out. The newest toolkit is actually for people who've been diagnosed with autism as adults.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, we often meet parents who, after their children were diagnosed, then started to explore the possibility that they may be on the spectrum themselves.
Yes.
So this toolkit is designed for those people who have questions about, is it worth getting a diagnosis? What will that mean for me? Those kinds of questions. So I just want to mention that is our newest toolkit, and it can be found on the toolkit page.
That is a wonderful toolkit. And again, we should mention that there are a wide variety. I guess I haven't been in on that tab in a while to see all the new things, and I need to check it out myself. But if people go to autismspeaks.org such a resource for so many different things, but click on the toolkit tab to see, and as you mentioned, all those toolkits are downloadable and it's totally free. And you put your toolkits in other languages for our viewers who would prefer to be able to have them in different languages. It's quite remarkable, the depth
Absolutely.
and the breadth of what you guys have there.